Hi, welcome to Amanda's Book Corner. I'm Amanda, and this is my review of Never Fall for Your Fiance by Virginia Heath. So in the past couple of years, especially this year, I've gotten really into historical romances, and I've only read 3 authors so far, but when I found out about this book a few months ago, I was really excited, and I thought it just looked like a really fun and cute book. So I actually pre-ordered it, and I was so excited for it to arrive, and as soon as it did, I decided to start reading it. It's November 1825, and by the way, that's good timing because it's November right now when I'm recording this and also when I read it. But anyway, it's November 1825, and Hugh Standish, an earl, has a problem. For the last 2 years, he has been lying to his mother, who is currently living abroad in America. He's been lying to his mother about a fiance that he supposedly has, whose name is Minerva. His mom has been wanting to come over and help plan the wedding and see them get married, but he's kept putting it off and saying, oh, well, you can't come over now because she has consumption. Oh, you can't come over now because her father just died and she's grieving. We can't get married during this time. And so he's kind of been stringing her along for a couple of years now, but his mom is done waiting, and she's told him without warning that she's on her way over. She's taking a ship over from America to England, and she's ready to meet this fiance and hopefully see them get married. Now, Hugh doesn't actually have a fiance named Minerva, and he's going to need to find someone to fool his mother until he finds a way to dissolve this entire engagement for once and for all. Luckily for him, he stumbles across a young woman who would fit the bill perfectly. Minerva Merriwell is a working class woman. She and her 2 younger sisters live alone. Their father abandoned them, and they have to work for a living. In a hilarious scene, Hugh steps in and helps her receive payment for work that she had done, and the guy just was refusing to pay her. And he gets talking and he finds out her name is Minerva, and he thinks, this would be perfect. Her name is Minerva. She can pretend to be my fiance Minerva, and we can fool my mother until we find a way to end this engagement. Now, Minerva has her reservations about doing such a thing. It seems bad to deceive a mother like that, but she desperately needs money, so when he agrees to pay her £40 for it, which is more than she would make in several months of working, she decides to agree to it, and so she takes her sisters along with her to meet up at his country home. So I really love this book from the very beginning. It's definitely a very fun, light, comedic book. I was smiling throughout the whole reading, and I just thought it was delightful. I really love the characters in this book. So first of all, Minerva and her sisters. I really love that in this historical romance, these are women who are working class. They actually do work for a living. They're poor. They live in a very small home. It's not very nice. They don't have the money to have the latest fashion. It's very different from the kinds of historical romances that I'm used to seeing. Again, not that I'm an expert on the genre or the different kinds of characters that are usually in it, but when I think of historical romances, I think of books about dukes and earls and viscounts and countesses and people who are wealthy and have titles. So it's not very often that I see historical romances with someone who is on the other end of the socioeconomic spectrum. I really like that Minerva is poor and does work for a living. It's something that I can relate to a lot more as someone who grew up fairly poor. And it also puts the characters in a very different kind of situation than the wealthy characters would be facing. Minerva's parents aren't trying to force her to marry someone that she doesn't know because he has money and a title. She has no parents to speak of, and she's really on her own. She's not looking to get married, she's looking to make money. So it's very different from the kinds of tropes that I've seen thus far in most of my books that I've read. Although I will say, I think Portrait of a Scotsman by Evie Dunmore, it also has some of that working class edge to it in a very different way, but I'll link to it here. I did read it a couple months ago, and I think it's similar in a certain way. Very different, but it still has that working class element. Hugh is also a wonderful character. I think he's probably the most creative and imaginative character that I've seen in a historical romance. He clearly has a way with words, especially written words, considering that he imagined this entire character, and he didn't just say, oh yeah, I'm engaged to this random woman and that's it. He was writing lengthy letters to his mother pretty much every week and go into all kinds of detail about Minerva, her illness, her family, where she's from, all kinds of details that he didn't just imagine up entirely. He also had to do research. He read about Scottish families and where it would make sense for someone of her last name to be from, which I think is some serious dedication to a fake fiance. He's just such a fun and delightful character, and he definitely comes across as very light and superficial and joyful and charming and fun without anything below the surface. And I think it's interesting that he's hiding so much emotional depth to him and so much intelligence that he has behind this facade of superficiality. I enjoy the way everything plays out in this book. Although Minerva and Hugh get along pretty well at the beginning, you can also see how they clash in certain ways and how they're different in certain ways, but also how they see right through to the truth in them and how that makes them put up their walls and their defenses and become angry. It's really fun to see how they interact once Hugh's mom does arrive, and they're kind of working through whether they're angry at each other or whether they like each other again. I also love how the other characters influence them. For example, Minerva has two younger sisters. The middle sister is Diana, and she has a very cynical and morbid outlook on life, which is hilarious. She actually kind of reminds me of my sister. And her youngest sister, V, short for Venus, she's the youngest of them, and she's a teenager, and she's definitely a little bit more naive and fragile and harder for them to manage and harder for them to get to play along with the roles that they've been given in this fake fiance relationship. On Hugh's part, his best friend is Giles, and he's hilarious too. He's kind of slightly evil. I'm pretty sure Giles and Diana are going to be the couple in the second book. I think so. And you know how they say opposites attract? I think in this case it's going to be people who are the same attract, and it's going to be very interesting to see two such morbid, evil, sarcastic people and how they interact with each other. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I also really enjoyed the butler. He was hilarious. Hugh's mother is amazing and sharp. His stepfather is amazing and so kind. I really enjoyed all of the characters. Even the fake mother that they got for Minerva and her sisters she was chaotic, but fun. So I just really loved how everything played out in this book. It was a lot of fun, and it was charming, but it had emotional depth too, and I like how we can see these characters growing and learning to become better. I just really enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't like is that the ending was too quick. And this is a big problem with so many romances in general. I feel like you're like waiting for them to get back together, and then finally they do, and then boom, it's over. And it's just like, I just wanted a few more pages. Give me an epilogue, give me something. So it definitely left me wanting more, but I guess that's a good thing because this is the first in a trilogy, and I'm definitely going to be reading the other two books as soon as they're out. Again, it's the Merriwell Sisters, so I think the next book will be about Diana and Giles probably, and then the third book must be about V, so I'm definitely excited to read those. So hopefully we'll get to see the happiness between Minerva and Hugh in those future books. For me, that's enough. I'll forgive the author for not including an epilogue, just because I assume I'll see them in the future books. But anyway, I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. So I hope you enjoyed this book review video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And to make sure you don't miss any more of my videos, please ring the bell to get all my notifications. I'll be making more book review videos like this one at least once or twice every week. And in the next few weeks, I'm also going to be putting out additional content as well that you won't want to miss. So thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!